Now listen, I don't think one man should have all this power, but you can't stop me now. So yeah, Mario Kart is kinda weird. For most series, even when a new entry comes out, people still go back and play the older titles as well. Heck, in some series, the older ones are more loved than the newer ones. With that being said, when was the last time you played Mario Kart 7 and why was it several years ago? Mario Kart games just kinda stop being important once a new one comes out. Sure, there are some people who will go back and play the old ones for nostalgia's sake, but for most people it's just like, why would I play the old one when I have the new one? Now, while that's generally the case, there are two exceptions to that rule. Two games that, despite how many sequels have come out, still get as much love as the newest games. One of them is Double Dash, which is like the black sheep of the series. It has wonky controls, unique mechanics, and a focus on chaos. It's no wonder why people bring it up all the time. And then there's Mario Kart DS. Now, from an outsider's perspective, it's just like, why this one specifically? It just looks like another Mario Kart game. Well, let me put it like this. If the Mario Kart games were like a group of friends, and like 8 is the most popular and well-liked currently, and Double Dash is the weird one that keeps everything exciting, then DS is the coolest one. Not coolest like he's got shades under his shades, which he probably still does, but he's coolest like he comes over and helps you move your furniture just because he's your friend. That makes sense, right? DS was a ridiculously generous package for a Mario Kart game at the time, featuring a ton of tracks, side modes, and even cool bonuses that no other game has even attempted since. And you could play multiplayer with your friends anywhere for free. If we're talking stuff to do, single player or multiplayer, I'd argue that it had more going for it when it released than even the newest entries have. It was just a cool game, so, you know, how about we talk about it?
Here we go!
So on the main menu, we have a bunch of modes to choose from, and while there's a certain option screaming, I'm different, instead we'll jump into the races first. Like, this is Mario Kart, this is like the whole thing you buy the game for. The character roster, at least initially, is about what you'd expect. We got Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, Toad, Donkey Kong, Wario, and most importantly, Happy Meal Toy Bowser. Like, yeah, I know this is the DS and all, but man, Bowser looks really weird here. There are also 4 other unlockable characters, Dry Bones, Daisy, Waluigi, and Rob, you know, like that NES accessory, and I didn't actually know about that at the time. I just thought he was a new character created for this game, so it was kinda nuts that they chose this one random Mario Kart DS racer to get a whole character in Smash. At least, that's what I thought at the time. I was not the brightest. Oh, and as for Waluigi, I know he seems like a safe bet here, but sometimes you need to cherish what you have before it's gone. Mario Kart 7 had his stage, but not him. It's like your friends having a party and they don't invite you, they invite your bike. But don't worry, they got a bee! But yeah, can you guess who I chose?
Oh yeah!
Wow, what a shocker. Who could have guessed? It's almost like this has already happened 3 times. So we choose our kart. I like this one's the coolest. We get into the first race, mess up the boost because I forgot how to do it, feel deep shame momentarily, and then bam, it's a Mario Kart game. Like, yeah, besides the drift working slightly differently, this feels pretty close to the newer games. And that's interesting because the 4 prior entries didn't really feel like this. You had Double Dash, which was slippery, 64, which was slippery, and Super Mario Kart, which was bad. DS, though, signaled a shift for the series' flow. Things are much quicker, much crunchier, much tighter. You feel like you have much more control over what you're doing than any of the previous entries. Like being serious for a moment, when you're at your best speeding along, pulling off those perfect drifts and blowing by your opponents, it's absurdly satisfying. You feel freaking cool. And then you accidentally hit a wall and feel considerably less cool. Here's the thing though, after DS, all the other games would try their best to pretty much replicate DS's controls and flow. Sure, they'd change a few things here and there, but clearly if it worked this well, then why would you change it? Speaking of working pretty well, items work about the same as they always have. You've got shells for ranged attacks, bananas and fake item boxes for traps on the road, lightning to turn everybody into little baby pixels, the bombs to, well, explode, stars to make you super fast, invincible, and terrifying to be around, mushrooms to give you a quick burst of speed, and of course the blue shells that come in at the best of times. It's not super unique in the item department, but like, it doesn't have to be as long as it works. As long as the selection is fun and makes things more chaotic, then its job is done. And speaking of chaos, these stages are that. When they aren't boring. We've got a decent set of new tracks here, with 16 original raceways that range from alright to legit some of the best stages in all of Mario Kart. Figure 8 Circuit is not one of those though. Like, it's alright, but even for the usual first Mario Kart track, this one's a bit too simple. Yoshi Falls is a definite improvement though, featuring a bunch of cool boosters and waterfalls that might give you an edge or might not. Cheep Cheep Beach is a pretty traditional beach stage, but like, I freaking love beach stages, so of course I like this one. They made an entire stage based on Luigi's Mansion, and I freaking love this kind of stuff. As a kid, I was just thrilled to see one of my favorite games get a whole track. No joke, I used to go into the time trials to just drive around on the stage. No racing, no high scores, I just wanted to be in Luigi's Mansion. Too bad Desert Hills is really lame, and yes, part of it's biased because I don't really like desert stages, but come on, I didn't even remember this stage existed before making this video. I completely forgot about it. Delfino Square makes up for it by being one of the best stages in the series though. It just replicates driving through a town so well. And then they were like, haha, you think that's great? You haven't seen nothing yet. Bam! Shroom Ridge. I mean, look at it. It's got cars and you're on the road and not just kidding. Waluigi Pinball is Mario Kart perfection. Like, making a course on a pinball table sounds cool enough already, but somehow this just ends up being even better than you'd imagine. My favorite part is when you're running down this little area on the final lap and you and all your buddies are desperately trying not to get hit by all these giant pinballs. Oh, and the music, perfection. I'm just gonna say this is the coolest Mario Kart stage, full stop. There's no competition. And then DK Pass is just like a generic snow level following up one of the best levels in the game, huh? Well, who cares about that when there's Tick-Tock Clock? It's a whole stage based off that terrible Mario 64 stage, but this time it's actually good. And then Mario Circuit is just like another normal Mario Kart stage. But I mean, hey, it's got these cute little pixelated Goombas, so that's something. Airship Fortress is Nito Burrito, though. It's based off the Mario 3 stages and has gotta be one of the coolest, most epic Mario Kart stages. You're dodging bullet bills, running down towers, dodging fire, getting fired out of a freaking cannon. It's just cool. Wario Stadium is also pretty solid. You know, that's all I have to say about it. It's just cool. Peach Gardens is a pretty decent little stage with roaming chain chomps, but not much else. Bowser's Castle in DS is one of the best ones in the entire series, even if it's not my favorite. And then there's Rainbow Road, not my favorite iteration of that, but it's still pretty neat, especially those anti-gravity loops. I used to love messing with those when I was a kid. It's a pretty solid selection, all things considered. Sure, there are a couple bland ones here and there, but the majority of the stages are really neat, with some of them being up there with the best of the best. And for most of the previous games, that'd be it. It'd be like, alright, you got your 16 stages, that's good. But I'm gonna blow your mind here. Wait for it. Boom. 16 more tracks. And all of them are coming from older titles too. This may not seem wild nowadays, but you need to realize it's only a standard now because DS made it a standard. Double Dash straight up only had 16 tracks and that was a full-on GameCube title. And yet here's DS walking in with double that. Maybe you should have called this one Double Dash, I'm just saying. And like, yeah, I know technically Super Circuit also did this, but like, does that really count? All the stages came from Super Mario Kart, which means most of them are basically the same stage repeated. DS though, it brings back stages from Super Mario Kart, sure, but also 64, Super Circuit, and even Double Dash. So this still presents a bit of a problem since half of these come from 2D games, but even then, most of these tracks still feel pretty distinct because of the updates DS makes to them. And I mean, the 64 and Double Dash stages, genuinely great choices. We got Mushroom Bridge, Baby Park, Moo Moo Farm, Yoshi Circuit, like it's a really solid selection all around. And here's the thing, these 16 extra tracks, these are just one of the many cases where DS shows just how generous it is. Like, this was a huge boost in content at the time, and considering every game after this would adopt the retro track concept, it shows that they clearly did something right here. And man, playing these stages with friends on the bus, at the park, locked in some guy's basement, it was always a ton of fun when you had your friends around. Mostly. The DS had this magical feature nobody had ever heard of before, not requiring a dumb cable to play multiplayer. You could connect wirelessly with anyone around and have a blast, and I cannot express just how neat this was. Playing Mario Kart on the TV was great and all, but it wasn't always easy to get everybody in the same place to play it. With DS though, that wasn't an issue. We could now play Mario Kart anytime, anywhere, which we loved. But let's say you didn't have the game. Would you stare in sadness wishing you could join in? Sometimes. But for those people, Nintendo decided to bestow a gift that would save them from that torment. Download Play, a feature where even without the game, you could play multiplayer with other people. Now Mario Kart DS isn't the best with it, you can only play as a shy guy and you can only choose from 2 cups, but like, it really didn't matter. It was just cool you could even play Mario Kart with people who didn't own the game. And hey, funnily enough, they'd usually buy the game not long after. What a coincidence, it's almost like letting people play it was a good idea. Sadly, after the DS, Download Play would slowly fade into obscurity. I mean, like, the 3DS had it for sure, but like barely any game supported it. And you know, Download Play was cool, but you know what was even cooler? Being able to screw over people in Mario Kart anywhere in the world. Online Play was another new addition in this game, and it was crazy to have it at the time. All you had to do was connect to the internet, and you could be ruining people's days from all over the world. The Wi-Fi service obviously doesn't work now, but trust me, at the time it was freaking cool. I spent plenty of time playing online, but I didn't always have the option because my Wi-Fi wasn't that great and still isn't. But like, what if you didn't feel like racing? What if you wanted to do something else? Something unlike anything else in the game? Man, if only there was an option. Oh yeah, the battle mode. I mean, what else would I be referring to? The battle mode in these games is weird because I love it, I play it a lot, but when it comes down to it, I really don't have much to say about it, and in this case, it's not really that different. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a blast here, as always. But like, realistically, I don't know how much I can actually say about it. You start a battle, you blow up balloons with the mic, or with the select button, which I didn't know you could do until I recorded for this video, and you run around absolutely wrecking people's stuff with items. Though I will say, the stage selection here, it's beautiful. You got Pipe Plaza, the classic. You got Block Fort, hands down the greatest battle mode stage in the entire series. And hey, you could even fight on a giant DS. Like, come on, that's perfect. What else could you ask for? But yeah, it's a good mode. But what if I wanted something completely different from racing or battles? Something completely unique in how it feels. Something I can play alone. Like time trials. Oh, and also there's this mission mode thing that's pretty cool too. The mission mode is like the cherry on top of this delicious sundae. It was this cool single player mode they only did once for some reason, and I have no clue why. In the mission mode, you have 6 different sets of missions, and each has a set of little challenges to complete. These could be anything from collecting coins, destroying boxes as quickly as possible, driving a portion of the stage backwards, or what is easily the coolest part of this mode, the boss battles. Like, they're nothing crazy or anything, but the fact that they're even here to begin with is kinda wild. And actually, that's the way I describe this whole mode. None of these missions are going to blow your mind or anything, but the fact that they're in the game to begin with is really neat. They're super fun to replay over and over and try to get the best rank, and I like that the game actually has a single player mode. And what's so frustrating is that Nintendo just never did this again. And that's the thing. The mission mode, download play, being the first game in the series to have retro tracks, all of this stuff really made DS feel special at the time. Like, having all of this extra content is one thing, but even beyond that, there was something so magical about getting together in a group and whiling away the hours playing Mario Kart with your friends and then heading home and having tons to do on your own as well. I really feel like this was a special moment in time. No game after this could replicate that lightning in a bottle moment. And sure, maybe one day this game will end up in the same state as the other games, one that's generally overlooked and outdated, but until then, Mario Kart DS will always remain the coolest Mario Kart game that ever existed.